You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV Network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment. The AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California. Presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is AFTERBUZZ TV Smash After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV Smash After Show.
Hey everybody, Bing is for doing, and we are here doing another Smash, Season 2, Episode 6. I am Tamara Berg. I'm joined in studio by Kristin Snyder.
Oh, or Schultz.
Schultz.
Kristin Carole.
Kristin Carole, Kristin Schultz. Kristin Snyder.
Kristin Snyder is actually, another show.
Okay.
She did Revolution with me, and she just gave me
Okay, well anyway, enough about her. Let's talk about you. Kristin Carole's in studio with me. I also have, I even wrote it down wrong.
It's a little late, it's fine, guys.
Kendra Kabasele. Hello. And Sarah Mendoza.
Hello.
I'm Phil's VK.
We've got John Comerford on the sofa. And we have Stephen Lemieux humming the booth for us. Stephen.
How's it going, guys? Thanks, Stephen.
Okay. Well, we, right at the top, want to say that we've got a special guest calling in very soon, if he's not on the line right now. Leslie Odom Jr., who plays Sam on the show, is calling in. We are super excited to have him back. Kendra and I had a chance to interview him last season, had a wonderful time interviewing him, and we feel like he's our good friend now.
Yeah, I think he'll vouch for that.
Yes, I think so too. I think so too. So we'll talk a little bit just as we're waiting for him to call in, and then we'll just go back to our topics. But I wanted to first basically just talk about the 3 shows this week with this week's episode, because the episode of Smash. Oh, look, we've got him already calling in. Leslie, are you there?
I'm right here.
Hey, how are you?
I'm so good. How are you, ladies? Long time now.
I know. We're so happy to hear your voice. Are you on the East Coast right now?
No, I'm in LA.
Oh, you are?
He's on our
That's
time.
why we get to talk to you as opposed to 3 o'clock in the morning, like we thought we were talking with you.
I know. That'd be so gangster. I'd get more points with you if I stayed up. Actually, I should have told you I was on the East Coast.
That would have been more gangster.
I should have said he was in London.
Right. That would.
Oh, yeah.
Next time.
Missed opportunity.
Well, we're so excited to have you on the phone with us. Last time we talked, you were walking down the street in New York and getting recognized while we were interviewing you.
Wasn't that so funny? Like, literally, like the second or third time that had ever happened, and I got to do it while I was on the phone with you guys.
Live with us. It was so great. So one of the reasons why we wanted to talk to you is you have some news to talk about of your very own.
I do.
Tell us.
I am very excited to announce the development of my my debut album. I am on Kickstarter right now trying to raise the money, and it is the most exciting thing creatively that I've ever embarked upon. So much of my career, most of my career is asking other people to use me and use my talents. And what I've learned from Smash and from other things is that when you work on other people's stuff, they're going to use you and your talents as they see fit. And that doesn't always jive with necessarily what you think you should be doing or using you to the best of your abilities as you see them. So this is my very first independent project, and I am so excited.
Have you started recording already?
We have. We've recorded a few things, but we're really taking our time, and we have the time. So the timeline is so beautiful the way my producers laid it out. He actually, do you guys know Eden Espinosa?
No, not.
Yeah. your listeners might. She's a Broadway chick, a big Broadway star. She did Wicked and Brooklyn, and her husband actually produced her independent album. And for years, people have been saying that I should record, and why don't I record my own thing? And it never, partly I think I wasn't ready to say anything yet as a man and as an artist, and I'm finally ready. And also I heard the quality of what he did with Eden's album, who happens to be his wife, and I took the meeting. And so we have started to record stuff, but Joseph is all about taking our time. We're not going to put out, it's not a rush job, so the album we're shooting for a fall 2013 release, but that gives us plenty of time to, to deconstruct things, and if something's not working, throw it out and start over again, because I respect, people's money and people's time, so I don't want to waste either. I don't want to waste your money that you're going to donate to the project, and I don't want to waste your time in listening to it, so that's where I'm at.
So are they all original songs or plan to be original songs so far on the album?
There's not. There's a couple originals, but one of my favorite things, I do, the cabaret and sort of, the solo cabaret circuit a lot as well, because that fits in with the brand, with the Broadway stuff, and with the standards. So this album is the album that Sammy Davis Jr. or Nat King Cole might make today. And
I like that.
I grew up listening to those guys. Those guys taught me how to sing, and there's literally nobody on the scene that you can point to today. There's no black male Michael Bublé. There's no black male Josh Groban. And that doesn't mean that there's not young black kids just like me who want to hear that type of music, who want to see somebody who sings that type of music that looks like them. There's just, nobody out there that's doing it. And the majors aren't really interested in it. The majors aren't really interested in backing a project like mine. Not yet, anyway. We'll do the first one on our own. We'll do the second one on our own if we have to too, but just to show people that it works, because a lot of times when you're pitching something new or something that they haven't seen in a while, people they don't think it'll work.
That's incredibly exciting, and what a great hook! What a great description of what it is you're doing. John, you're a big Nat King Cole fan.
Nat King Cole is my favorite of all time. By the way, this is John. It's good to meet you. And
hey, John.
Yes, Nat King Cole has always been my favorite. I've always said if I could come back and do it again, I would do it as Nat King Cole.
He's the best. Right?
He is. He's the best. There's nobody smoother. Nobody smoother.
Come on, man.
Except maybe Leslie now.
Come on.
That's it. Yeah. So I am so excited to hear this because, again, he's my favorite. I can't wait to hear what you have to say and how it's going to sound. It's going to be wonderful.
Yeah, we're doing, and like I said, it's the album that they would make today.
Right.
So we are really taking our time and fleshing out the sound, because those guys, for their time, were cutting edge.
Yep.
They were on the cusp of what was contemporary. So this is not a throwback album. This is how you reach, how do we not let a song like Lush Life die? Mm-hmm. How do we reach the contemporary audience with Lush Life?
Right.
We want to say something about our time now with these songs that are the greatest songs that have ever been written, really, So
that's definitely exciting, and I know it's a few more months before you're going to be releasing your album. But do you have any plans for that album release? Maybe like a party or a concert or something? I think Sarah wants an invite. I don't want to go.
all do.
Hopefully, it's in Los Angeles.
You better believe it. Yeah, we're doing a huge party in LA, a huge party in New York, and then part of the Kickstarter thing is also that people can, you can pool together, all the resources at your church or at your community center, and we'll do a release party in Kansas, a release party in Idaho. So, so we're absolutely going to celebrate real big, because to do something like an independent venture for, especially for somebody who, like I said, all I've done is, and it's been wonderful things, but Grey's Anatomy and CSI Miami and, Smash, of course, Red Tail. It's always somebody else's thing. So we're going to celebrate the hard work I'm sure that this project is going to entail, and, just getting to the top of this mountain, with the support of the community. Mm-hmm. So we're going to celebrate big, believe it.
Do you have any collaborations on the album that you're working with? Is there going to be duets or anything of that sort?
Yes. I haven't said anything I can take this time to announce them here. I guess I haven't said anything.
Wait, we have an AfterBuzz exclusive?
Do we have sound for that, Stephen?
Right now, because what I'm going to do is, I'm going to announce them later on as well, so that get people excited about them. Again, midway through the Kickstarter raising the money. But I'm going to do a duet with my wife. Right now, we have our YouTube video on. We did a cover of Rihanna's "Stay," and it's got like 10,000 hits. And we just did that. It was Valentine's Day, and I was shooting Smash, and I was in my trailer for like 10 hours waiting to be used. And so we just, hit record and recorded that thing, and people really responded to it. So we're going to do a duet together. I'm going to do, do you guys know Ty Taylor? His band right now is called Vintage Trouble, but Ty Taylor, he's just a brilliant singer and an artist that I've looked up to literally for, half of my life. He's a Carnegie Mellon alum as well. And, he was a black man that I could look to in this industry who kind of sounded like me. And I mean, like I tell Ty all the time, he was my hope. I listened to, it was damn near close to sleeping with his, CD under the pillow. I mean, he really was my hope. And Ty wrote an original song for me for this album that is just the most gorgeous thing. It's the most gorgeous thing. You guys are going to flip when you hear it. So, yeah.
How did that feel when somebody that you've admired for so long is now writing your song for your album? That must have been...
You have to take a step back. You have to take a step back and take a breath because, the tremendous goodwill that is already surrounding this project, and people coming out of the woodworks and just wanting you ladies, Kendra hitting me up and come on the show and talk about your, that is like, not everybody can give money, but that kind of support and that kind of love is just invaluable, and I'll never ever forget it, ever.
Now, you mentioned your wife. You are a newlywed, if I'm not mistaken. Isn't that correct?
You are not mistaken. I got married December 1st.
Right.
Yes.
Ooh, yeah. Congratulations to you both. That's wonderful.
Thank you so much.
Now, tell us about the Kickstarter campaign. How much are you going to raise? How close are you to your goal?
It's been up for 2 days. And we have it's been up for 2 days. It's going to run for 30 days, and we have $30,000 to raise minimum. We'd always, of course, if we overraise, we will find wonderful places to use and that is $30,000 really is, when you talk about the quality of this project, that is really the bare minimum. I mean, I want to pay my musicians. I want to pay, for the studio time and for the arrangements and the mixing and the mastering is so expensive. So I want to put something in your hands that sounds like that is worthy of the money that you're donating. So $30,000 is really the minimum that we can do it for. We've already exceeded the goals both days. We need to raise about $1,000 a day.
Right. So right at this moment, you're at $2,401. We're seeing with 44 backers. So that's pretty exciting.
That's right. Very exciting. We have a concert planned for April 6th at the Coterie in Los Angeles in Hollywood. It's April 6th at the Coterie at 8 p.m. There's also a VIP reception at 7 p.m. if you want to get into that. But those tickets go on sale tomorrow and the next day. That's strictly a fundraiser. I'm going to do an hour of stuff. My wife will be with me, a piano. I'm very excited about that show as well. I've never done a solo show in Los Angeles ever. So, it's a whole bunch of firsts.
Wow, that's incredibly exciting.
Yeah, hi, it's Kendra. Hey, Leslie.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great, thanks. Congratulations on everything. We also see that the pledges actually, people can get prizes, right, for each level?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, there's so many, not to get all spiritual on your behinds at, 11:32 at night. There's also, there's a lot of stuff that is happening you know, I'm a spiritual guy. You know, I believe in God and I believe in destiny and kind of right time, you know, right moment, right time kind of thing. And there's things that are lining up with this that we didn't plan. But, yeah, it'll be announced that in the next couple of days as well. I got offered a new off-Broadway show in New York that I'm going to go do in the spring. I can't say what it is yet, but it's so exciting. It's a role that I've been waiting for my entire career. I mean, as you guys can see, I mean, you know, Smash kind of got rid of me for a lot of the season. I come back next week. I have a number and everything, but, you know, I've been waiting for so long to be used. You know, it's like, I'm here, you come, you bring everything you have to the table, and you just want somebody to use it. This show that I'm going to do in New York is about to use it. So we have opportunities online for people to buy tickets. One of the rewards is that if you pledge $125, you get a ticket to the show, you get a meet and greet after. You also get signed copies of the CD and everything like that. So we have that. We have tickets for the album release parties that are coming up. We have tickets for the Coterie show. We've got, you know, I'll sing a video dedication to someone that you love or to you. I'll give you, you know, I'll record a song for you on my computer and send it to you. There's so many ways, you know, that I can give back for what you're giving me. You know, the bottom line is, though, that I kind of, you know, the only way I can really repay you is by putting my whole heart and soul into this album and making it something that is worthy, like I said, of your time and your money, and that I'm going to do, you know. Well,
you have so many, again, to, you know, echo your spirituality, you have so many gifts to offer. And
thank you.
And you know, there are wonderful things that are available on the Kickstarter campaign. And so, you know, I know that everybody in the studio right here is figuring out how much we can give. You know,
so
what do we want? How much can we give? Also,
yeah.
while we're just talking to you, can we mention your charity that you've supported?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I usually support my best friend from college, who's my best man at my wedding. I've known him for so long. It's called the Uganda. It's not called the Uganda Project, but it's called Uganda Project. No, UgandaProject.com. You know, we were 23 years old, and he went to Uganda on a missions trip and came back and told me he'd adopted, you know, 11 kids. I thought he was nuts. But he has managed to, in Uganda, education is not free. So if you want to go to 5th grade, you have to pay for it. If you want to go to 8th grade, you have to pay for it. And that, you know, is a daunting sort of, you know, request if you happen to be a kid who's orphaned, you know, from AIDS, or if you're a kid whose parents don't have the money. So Griffin, I've seen him, you know, take real action. And, you know, you know, there are huge problems all over the world, you know, but this isn't somebody that's he's not trying to save the world. He's trying to help 11 kids at a time. You know, so it is a very real and practical way. I've given money to them for years. I'm happy to.
I have too, not for years, but since you noted it to me, I did too.
Yeah, they do beautiful work, and you can, you know, they have kids now that have graduated from college, and then they bring in new kids and stuff. So, you know, it's just a real practical way to see your money at work.
That's fantastic. Well, now tell us, how do we find the Kickstarter program?
Yes, Kickstarter.com. Kickstarter.com, and you can search for Leslie Odom Jr. or you can search for Leslie Odom. It's the debut album project. It's very easy to find. Excellent. Or you can, you know, if you're having a problem, find me on Twitter, Leslie Odom Jr. Find me on Facebook, Leslie Odom Jr., and I will direct you.
Perfect.
And just quickly before we let you go, you're back next week on Smash. Everyone's been missing Sam.
Yes.
Just quickly, how can you summarize what we're going to see next week?
Next week, we're going to see Sam return from the road. He's back for good. I won't tell you how he gets back for good, but I will tell you that I get to sing my first solo. It's an original Mark Shaman and Scott Whitman tune. It's, you know, and they wrote it. They kind of knew what my plans were for the future. So it's very much a song that Nat would have recorded, very much a song that Sammy would have recorded. It's called Tomorrow Tonight, big band kind of sound, and I get my own number. So if you're on the fence about donating, Maybe you wait until next week to check out what I have to offer.
There you go.
If you want a gift, yeah.
Nice sell.
That's awesome.
That's so exciting. Well, Leslie, it sounds like everything is just coming up roses for you. We're so looking forward to your work next week in the show and in the album to come in the fall. Thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight, and
My pleasure.
hopefully we'll
Thank you
get to
for
talk
having
to
me.
you again soon. Best of luck to you in everything, and we'll talk to you soon.
Perfect. You guys have a great night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See, this is why we think he's our good friend. He's so so
nice.
personable and so charming.
He's such a sweetheart.
He really is. He really is. I'm so sitting here trying to figure out. I know I can't make the $5,000 donation. To the Kickstarter.
Maybe the one where he could serenade a loved one and then
maybe.
send it to me.
We should all like pitch in to get the
Kidding.
big prize.
Right, exactly.
Pitch in to get Kendra a love song.
There it is. There it is. Okay, so
I'll
now
pledge
we
that.
need to be very focused in the rest of our conversation tonight because we have spent 20 glorious minutes talking to Leslie Odom Jr. and we now need to get back to Smash. So let's talk about the first show of the episode, Liaisons, Dangerous Liaisons with Terry
And Ivy.
and Ivy. So
And Terry wanting somebody to have smallpox. Opening scene. Just one pox?
So
Maybe?
just one puck. So it's a sinking ship. It's a mess. The show's a mess, and Ivy makes the bold
Bold
suggestion that if we're going to go down, let's go down in flames and let's have fun doing it. What do you guys think about her decision to make that suggestion and Terry's decision to take it?
If they both want to leave, can't hurt anything, and it actually turned out well. People were laughing in the audience, although I think my reaction was the same as Karen's, where she was just like had her mouth open
Yeah.
and going, what is going on? But she enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I think it's funny that they called Ivy the Terry Whisperer.
funny.
She kind of is. She's able to persuade him in a way that, well, now he's not offended by it. He kind of takes it in and does something about the critique.
Right.
I thought that it was actually really funny. Yes, very crude, but I felt it was very entertaining.
Well, I had a question about this because I was furiously writing notes as we were watching it, so I'm going to have to watch it again to really get the whole gist of it. But, that it was beautifully choreographed to be very raunchy and not very raunchy, but to be raunchy and kind of suggestive. Body. That's the word I was looking for. Thank you. So do you think that we were watching sort of a fantasy version of what he wanted it to be? Because that was so well choreographed, I can't imagine that the idea
they
that
had
he was
time to
going
put it
over
together like that.
exactly. If he was going to do this over the top, let's go down in flames sort of number, it was very well choreographed for that. So were we watching a dream
Hey,
sequence?
they're
or
pros. They're Broadway pros.
I'm just suspending my disbelief once
They were
again.
just-
Is that it?
They were reading off of each other.
Oh, it was just massive collaboration and improvisation.
Well, they
Yeah,
had
that's
they had rehearsed
That's
though the thing with the not goats, excuse me, with the sheep. So maybe that was the original weird choreography combined with what they had, with freestyle. But if you remember, they were like, he asked her, should we go back to the original way? And she goes, yeah, sort of. So I think that's where it went. I particularly liked when he shot into the air and a dummy fell from the ceiling.
Yeah, that was great.
Were you going to say
I'm just going to say, you do have to suspend your disbelief. It's such a good
A
number.
lot.
You just enjoy it because you knew as soon as he fell that, okay, well, that was the last thing they're going to do with that number.
Yeah.
It was great fun, though. The
it was great.
costumes were fabulous. And
if you got nothing to lose, you should go for it. What the heck?
Yeah.
You're getting
Right.
creamed by everybody, and all the critics and everybody.
Might as well go all out.
Yeah, why not?
It was already out in the open. Everyone was just,
Let it all hang out.
They were being honest. It
Right.
was horrible what he was doing, so why not just be stress-free and let it all hang out?
C'est la vie, right?
Yeah.
C'est la vie.
And it was so well choreographed. I was thinking maybe it was sort of like that already, but he just went even crazier with
Yeah.
it and improvised with the
Motorboating.
Motorboating, booty slapping.
So funny. And the bongo drums on the boobs.
That poor girl's gonna have a bruise there
Ouch.
later.
I know. I think a couple of us in the room were like, ouch, we felt that.
Yeah.
Everyone except John.
Except John.
Or maybe John. Well, normally we talk about the songs at the end of the show, but since we only have 2 songs, let's talk about the song, Hey French Canadian.
Oh, ce n'est pas my fault.
Okay.
And
So it's
Kendra
not my
really
fault.
likes that.
I love it. Sorry.
It's funny.
Are you kidding?
She's more into French.
Go ahead. As you were.
As a song, I thought it was a well-crafted musical theater, you know, romp, funny lyrics, silly.
I'm wondering if the whole show was like that. That might be a hit. I mean, would it?
Yeah.
No kidding.
Controversial,
Yeah.
but that makes a hit.
No kidding. Yeah.
It's very Commedia dell'arte. That was
Yes.
great stuff.
Yes. Is there a French version of Commedia dell'arte?
Probably, but
Okay.
I don't know. I don't speak French.
Je comédie. Yeah, okay.
I'll leave that for Kendra.
She just said I comedy.
I comedy.
Translation.
I'm only in my first French lesson. I just started yesterday, so I can't do that stuff. Yes.
I really like the use of the swings in that number.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was really
Yeah.
fun choreography with everybody floating everywhere and chaos and
Except when he
craziness
fell.
going on. What is that?
Except when he fell off of the swing.
Yeah. I thought it was nice that she said, if we're going to go down, might as well go down in flames. And then he ends up
And then
going down.
goes down.
Yes. Yes.
Call a
And-
psychiatrist.
Yes, and then again, reference to his meds
Yeah.
with the psychiatrist.
I need a Klonopin.
Very funny, very silly. Yes.
I was just sad if that's the end, though. There is not going to be a Deborah Messing
Yeah.
run. She wasn't even at the opening. Which I thought
No,
was
you're
weird.
right. There
She
was
was at
no
dinner.
Sean Hayes and Deborah Messing
That's true.
reunion.
I
I
thought that
thought
was a
for
little
sure
strange.
they would at least bump into each other in the street, just, you know, look at each other like, oh, don't I? No, and then just
Yeah,
move
that
on.
would be so funny.
Just something fun
Unless
like
he
that.
It'd be
comes-
cheesy but funny.
Yeah, but, you know, you could get away with it. I mean,
Yeah. What if he comes
probably-
begging for a job on Bombshell, though?
The new Joe DiMaggio is Terry.
Happen.
He'd probably be doing the lighting.
We're suspending disbelief all over the place. I suppose that could happen. Let's move on to Hit List. All right, so we've got Hit List coming in. Last week we were introduced to Scott, played by Jesse L. Martin, who is the artistic director of the Manhattan Theater Workshop, coming in and sort of his white horse saving the day with Hit List, saying, I like your show, I want to do it, and Derek indicating that he's going to be the director. And then we get a little further into it. The show looks like it's not really working because Anna is in the lead.
Wow.
She
They're missing their
tried.
star.
She tried.
Yeah.
She wasn't bad. She was pretty good.
She was meh,
She was
to quote Sean Hayes.
M-E-H. She was meh.
She was meh.
And then they're also not putting together, as we see later, they're not putting together a show. And he makes a really good point. It was Scott, right? The artistic
Yes,
director
Scott.
said that he has to make sure he keeps in mind his older,
Audience.
subscribers,
Subscribers.
because honestly, I mean, if you go to most theaters, it is an older crowd, and those are the ones that get your season tickets and stuff. I mean, there's not a lot of young. I just went to go see a show at the Pantages the other day, and
I
think
know, I saw it on Twitter that you were there.
I think
Your
my
pictures were very cute. by
Oh,
the way.
thank you. My boyfriend and I were like the youngest people there, and not that young.
At Catch Me
anymore.
If You Can.
Yeah.
Wow. I would have thought that show would attract a young audience
I mean,
because
it
it's
was-
a musical and
It was more than the average, but it was still, I would say the medium age is around, it was, high 40s. So,
Then
well,
all
I
of
mean,
us-
those are the people
For
who
that
have the money,
particular one,
you
yeah.
know.
Yeah. They
I
have
was just
the
gonna say then
discretionary income
all of
to
us.
afford them.
well, it's
but-
true. If I didn't get it for Christmas, I didn't get a season, ticket holder for Christmas, I wouldn't be able to go. I might pick one or two.
Right. Exactly. Kendra,
No,
what were
I
you
was
gonna
just
say?
going to say all of a sudden when Karen Cartwright appears, it appeals to every age group.
Right, because she skews younger herself,
Yeah.
but has a classic.
More mature.
Right. Exactly.
Well, and they changed that one song, though, as well. at
This
the
week's
end.
song or last week's song?
This one.
Okay.
When she came, that new song that we saw, the rewrite.
To help with the theme, to articulate
this
the
story.
theme.
Yeah, exactly. So they bring her in, which, yeah, she does relate, and she has more of a presence, at least based on what we've seen on stage. Although I can address I had a small problem with her in this particular song. I thought the band washed her out a little bit. But usually on stage, she has a really big presence. And what we saw at Anna at the very beginning of the episode, she was okay. But it wasn't, you know, and I think they do that on purpose, obviously. So.
And washed Karen out maybe at first on purpose too. To just because she was kind of uncomfortable, you know, transitioning maybe.
Could have been. I just felt like Jimmy went up there and you could hear his voice so much clearer over the band than you could Karen. That was just a note I personally saw. I don't know if that was on purpose or if that just was the song or what was going on with that.
Let's talk about the dynamics that were going on with the stars and the directors of all the shows. So in this case, with Hit List, Derek was talking to Tom and saying, basically, you've got what I want and you're wasting it. And then he turns to Jimmy and Jimmy, right? And he says, you know, and you're wasting your talent because you're not. Right, exactly, because you're not taking advantage of this opportunity.
Because Jimmy's a jerk.
Yeah, I mean, he's just so young and stupid. I hate to say it, but that's what he is. Very foolish.
No, it's
just foolish.
Because he clearly doesn't have the life experience to know what a chance it is he has. Even though people, in every episode, people keep telling him, you have an amazing opportunity here and you're losing it.
But, I mean, there's not one writer that doesn't rewrite. Oscar winners, Tony winners, they all rewrite. Because rarely do you get anything great out of the gate. I mean, you have a great kernel, but it's always, all writing is rewriting. Every great novelist will tell you that.
I think that demonstrates how green he is. He doesn't realize.
Yeah.
You know.
Although the author of Gran Torino, the screenwriter of Gran Torino, delivered it to Clint Eastwood. Clint Eastwood said, I'm shooting it exactly as written.
Absolutely, but what he eventually gave to
was not his first draft.
Of
course.
So.
No, that's a good point. Of course, writing is rewriting. At the end of the show, we had a song, the Rewrite the Story. Jimmy sang with Karen, and you spoke about that. What did you guys think about that song?
I thought it was fun. I liked it.
I enjoyed it. I thought it was really. I liked the arrangement. Again, I liked the harmonies in the end when they were singing together. It surprised me that she came into the song because it seemed like it was going to be a solo to me.
Performance-wise, because they're in such a small theater space, I really liked that they, in a modern way, made it seem like they were in a bigger space by using the screens behind them.
Yes.
Because they've got the backdrop moving, or the film, you know, the shots of the video of the town or whatever, or the city as he's supposedly walking through it. But it was also really cool because he was pretending to smoke a cigarette, right, while he was singing. And when he drops it on the ground to do the cigarette squash with your foot thing, I don't know what you call that. You saw it happen on the screen.
Yes.
So it was just such a cool artistic, visually it was very cool.
Karen had an effect like that as well. She was holding
her CD.
No, it was like papers. It was paper of some sort, and then behind it fell down when she dropped it down as well. So yeah, it was a really cool device to see. Nice theatrical device.
I like the articulation of the theme. How do I rewrite the story? Because I didn't know how they were going to get the theme across about reinvention and all that other stuff. But I like the double play. Well, actually, it's a triple play of the language. How do I rewrite the story? Same thing as how do I rewrite this song? How do I rewrite the story with you, Karen? Now that I see you differently, how do I? You know, the whole thing. Everybody's trying to rewrite their story. That's kind of what Broadway's about too, is a reinvention. So I just like that it played on very many different levels.
Yeah, talk about having a loud and clear theme there.
Yeah.
Right.
I actually thought this reminded me of the opening of Bombshell before, when all the girls are kind of in their own spaces and worlds, and they're not really talking to each other, but sort of they are. And it felt like Jimmy and Karen were doing that in this performance too, because they weren't quite in the same world, but they were singing about the same thing. And if you notice, they weren't actually looking at each other. It was as if they were maybe like dreaming about this connection. Well, that's the way I saw it, at least. But I thought it was cool. It reminded me of that performance. Then I was thinking like, oh, this is a Derek show.
Right, exactly. Yes,
And
good
Derek
point.
made sure Jimmy knew that.
But then at the
Yeah.
end of it, what we found out is that the main stage was there. So they, in their process of rewriting and reinvention, they were granted the, the thing that they were doing this for, the goal that they wanted, which was to be on the main stage. So, the process got its reward. But then we see Jimmy falling in love again with Karen, asking her out to a drink, which I heard lots of response in the screening room when it happened.
Are you talking about me? Possibly.
He's like a little boy. He's
In what
just-
way?
In that, he
Yeah,
pouts.
childish.
He pouts every 5 seconds when he doesn't get his way.
Yeah,
Indeed.
And then when everything's going fine and dandy and he sees a piece of candy in front of him like Karen, he just wants it and he thinks he can have it.
Candy with a K.
And
annoying.
I don't think he can handle her
No.
at all.
No.
Kendra,
I
do you have an
still
opinion
don't
on
get
this?
how she's into him.
Yeah, that's what I have to. I'm looking at these 4 lovely ladies, and I'm going, please tell me what is this?
Every
the
girl
reverse.
goes through a bad boy phase, maybe.
Yeah, but
you go with
a
somebody
bad-
you know is bad. And I think also, she's more attracted. This is gonna come out really bad. I think she's way more attracted
Comment
to
on-
his talent than anything. The fact that he has a great voice and he can write songs and all of that. And I think sometimes she had a guy before the end that had no drama.
Right.
And now she's liking a guy that has a lot of drama, and she can't see that Derek's right in front of her.
Can I ask you a question then? So, because she obviously is in love with his talent and other things, but can being in love with that or the idea of that, can that really overcome how insufferable he is?
At the beginning, I think it can. I think you get one-sided, and that's all you think about.
Okay.
But it's gonna wear out.
Okay.
She's gonna see that Jimmy's a jerk, and hopefully, unless she's way more ignorant than I
A lot
would
of
think.
women have a lot of women have the problem of thinking they can change a man
Yes.
because they're very hopeful, and most of us really believe in the good of others, so
I just don't. No, sorry. I just don't think she's thinking of changing him. I think she's.
I think she just believes in the good side of him and and admires his talent, and she focuses on that so ferociously rather than remembering what a jerk
Talk
he
about
is.
suspension of disbelief.
Well,
Yeah.
but that's pretty typical in a relationship. They talk about how, there was a quote I read somewhere that, all those things you find really charming about your loved one in the beginning when you're just dating are the things that you want to kill them for, 7 months down the line or
Whoa,
whatever.
what are you?
Nothing. But it's rose-colored glasses at the beginning of a relationship, and yes, there may be terrible things going on, but you're so stricken
Enamored of
with
them, yeah.
hormones and lust that you overlook the things that would be red flags or obstacles because you just want them to be what you want them to be, which is leading to the I want to change him thing, because it's not so much a conscious thing, I think, in the beginning. But as she's getting into the relationship, she may realize, oh crap, he is a jackass. I've got to change that part and make him the thing I thought he was in the beginning of the relationship.
I guess I'm thinking she's not thinking long term with him. Like I don't.
Oh yeah.
It doesn't feel that way. She's not gonna have time for him in like 2 episodes. So.
Right.
But she's
Right.
she's so into him.
It happens.
All right. I'm just checking in.
Until she gets it, then she'll realize.
Yeah, but Derek's there, so it's not gonna happen.
That's
Right.
Even
So
more.
let's talk about the Derek power play.
That was awesome. Sorry, I thought it was
I knew you would think so.
hilarious. I mean, it was a little out of line because they aren't dating, but I like the power play only because I think Jimmy is such a jerk and sometimes needs to be put into his place. And even though Derek kind of worked Karen, and I'm not very much for that, I thought it was really funny because it made Jimmy see, I'm the guy in charge here. I hold
Yeah.
all the cards. You should be lucky to have me, and don't you dare think otherwise.
Yeah.
Any other opinions on Derek stepping in?
I think it was great. I think it was a mistake to say it the way he did because all it did was just make Jimmy go crazy. He should have said, "Look, we're working now.
Right, let's keep it professional.
Absolutely.
And then he would go behind his back.
That's no fun. So you got so you got Derek has to overstep and say something he shouldn't say, because now Jimmy is just going to be pissed, or he's going to try to go against that or prove him wrong or do all kinds of things, because a guy like Jimmy, you can't tell him not to do something, because then he's just going to do it.
He just wants to push his buttons.
I wonder what would have happened if Karen had seen that conversation, or even Anna maybe had seen that conversation. Because now Anna's feeling a little bit.
She's feeling slighted, for sure.
She's just a sister.
If that had happened, I don't think Karen would have really. She wouldn't have said anything. She might have just made like a weird look on her face, like, oh
goodness.
And we definitely want to hear what all you fans think, so definitely go to iTunes, go there, rate and comment, ask us questions, say if you agree or disagree. Do you think Karen should be with Jimmy or Derek? Also tell a friend. It only takes a minute, and also you can go on YouTube and we read all of the comments. And
we do. I actually have a couple that I want to talk about. Anna Carreno said, I think Derek is slowly finally realizing his feelings for Karen, and he's doing all the hit list stuff for her. Not because he wants, he wants a new show.
Not because
he
really believes in it.
Right.
Oh, interesting.
I agree with the realizing, but I think it's quickly realizing. I feel that it's,
But then again, he was still going to do it even before she said, okay, I'm leaving Bombshell, and I'm going to be on hit list.
Right.
But do you think he thought that maybe he could convince her to come on to hit list?
I think that was
Derek?
Derek, yeah. Once he went there knowing also that Karen was sad that she couldn't be part of it, maybe he thought, well, if I'm over here now, I think can Derek get this started.
I think Derek thinks he can do anything he wants. So my answer is yes to that.
He has a British accent. He can pretty much do whatever he wants.
Also, the same poster said, Derek is 1,000,000 times better for Karen than Jimmy. How can Karen fall for a blank like him is beyond me. So, John, there are sensible women out there who agree with you.
Praise the Lord.
Another comment was from Lala Laura, saying, interesting how you mentioned that Karen is Derek's muse. Ivy is obviously Tom's muse. And she says, my prediction is that Karen and Ivy will toe-to-toe with each other again, just on different shows. And we can talk about what I think about that in predictions, I think. But I'm not going to talk about that now. She'll move to the hit list, and Ivy will return to Bombshell with Tom as the director. You know he'll want Ivy back. He's always been her biggest fan. So Lala Laura predicted what happened in tonight's episode.
Nice job.
One other thing that we got from iTunes, an iTunes comment was, and this came in a couple weeks ago, and it just kept falling to the bottom of the list, and we didn't get to it. Last season, at the end, Karen was sick and throwing up. Do we think, they were asking us, do we think the writers were leaving a door open for her to be pregnant after the affair? But then when the storyline was dropped, it wasn't mentioned ever again, and what did we think of that?
Interesting.
They tend to bring up and drop storylines on this show a bit, so I would absolutely support that concept, I think, for sure. So anyway, if you have comments and would like to have us discuss them, let us know about them in the comments section. All right, let's move on to Bombshell. So at the end of the hit list show, there was a standing ovation. Everything was amazing. And all is well because Bombshell, through this episode, has been through a little bit of a dryer cycle. So what we started with was Thomas, the director, doing a terrible job as the director and giving line readings. John, you and I know I didn't see you, but I could feel you cringing wherever you were. Exactly. Sarah, you were asking, what is that? What did he do?
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, and we stopped it and went back because the dancers who were reacting, one of them said, did he just give her a line? Or she said, did he just give her a line reading? Yeah. And, that's just one of those things that's taboo. You never do that as a director. Because, John, explain why.
Well, a number of reasons. One, really, you want the actor to find it. So if you're directing, you direct the actor to find what you're looking for rather than to tell them. So because if you tell them, then the only thing they can think of is how you did it, and it doesn't come off as authentic.
Right. They just hear your
that's
voice
what's in their head. So rather than being in the moment, they're going, okay, now how did he do it again, or how did she want me to do it? So they're never present, and so it never works to give a line reading, or it doesn't work very well. And the other thing is, if the actor is able to find it organically, they will never forget it because it came from them, and it's much easier and represents itself better and is better received from the audience.
And on a more surface level, what we saw was everybody knows you're never supposed to give line readings.
Yeah,
and so it's just a major insult.
It made him look like a novice.
And it's an insult to the to the actors.
It made him look like it also shows that you don't really respect your actor to know how to get there. So it also shows you don't know how to direct. It just shows so many things.
Especially when he's the new guy and Karen's been there for a long time.
And implausible flag, I can't believe Tom didn't know that.
Yeah, that was.
He would never have done that. Not the Tom we know and love.
Not if you're on Broadway. You pretty much.
Yeah.
I think that's when I think Julia said he was just nervous and.
Yes.
Yeah. So I could see that.
Well, yeah. Actually, that's a good point.
Yeah.
That's a good point. All right, I'll give you that one. I'll take back the.
I could see that. I could see that if he was nervous, but I couldn't see him not going, oh my God, what did I just do? Because after you're not nervous and you think about it. I would think that you would say.
I've never done anything like that.
He did in Bringing Flowers. To
yeah, but I just felt like I wanted to see him do that. I didn't get to see him. They took that moment away from me. I wanted to see him realize, what the hell am I doing?
Yeah.
And they didn't show that moment.
Because we didn't even know that he knew he was doing anything wrong until he had the flowers waiting for her at the door.
Because to me, it looked like he was just saying, look, we're not getting together. Let me just try to, smooth it over. It doesn't show me that he actually knows that what he was doing was not the best in that specific point.
Right. Eileen comes along, and we're realizing, Eileen and Julia are realizing that Bombshell is a big disaster. we can't use the choreography that Derek had commissioned. He didn't do the choreography, right? Okay, but he owned the choreography, so they couldn't do that. And it turns out it looks like Jerry really is sabotaging Bombshell. For either because he wants it to go down and ruin Eileen, or he's trying to make it bad so that Derek will want to come back. Whatever reason it is that Jerry's throwing these problems into the show. But by the way, does anybody have an opinion on that, about what you think it is?
Well, the fact that he approached Derek and said, hey, look, Bombshell's yours. You want to come back? So I think he really does want him to come back. I think he wants to make the show that he wants to make.
Right.
And hurting Eileen or keeping her to the sideline in the process really suits him.
Yeah, he wants to see the show go up. He even said how much he loved it, and that was part of the whole plan to get it over. Was something he wanted, and also to take it away from Eileen, obviously. And that's, I think, another reason besides his daughter making the comment she did at the end. Was also he wanted this show to go on because it was such a great show, and as a producer, you'd hate to take something from Broadway on top of that. I think it mostly had to do with her walking out at the end where you hurt both of us for the last time, when Katie said that to him. But I think it was also he did want to see it succeed.
Now, I know there was comments in the room about the moment where Katie, Eileen, and Julia were looking for documents, looking for dirt on Jimmy. Anyone?
Jerry.
I mean Jerry, rather. Jerry, thank you. Anybody besides me want to throw the implausible flag?
Yeah. I just thought, I was like, well, that was quick, because Julia literally just walked in the room. She picked up the first set of papers that was sitting on the box, and it just happened to be their silver bullet that's going to bring Jerry down.
I mean, there may have been things that were happening before we arrived at that scene.
Well, I mean, it doesn't make for great TV to watch people going through boxes and everything, so I understand that part. But it would have been nice to see them all harried and just like, oh my God, how long has this been taking? Yeah, exactly, something like that.
Instead of talking about it.
Yeah, there was like having a nice glass of wine.
I did find it interesting, though, that they included Eileen and her daughter rummaging through old photos and memories of when Jerry and Eileen were cordial to each other and when they still had a loving marriage together. Because it gives you insight as to why the emotions are so deep within them, why they've got this feud that's still going on. It's because there was a lot of love there before.
Yeah, I think they felt that was more important to show than the rummaging.
Yeah.
So that's maybe why.
And I don't know, when I was watching, I used to work in the media center where I do now, when I first started, and you had to find tapes for people. And I always felt like sometimes I could look for a tape, 14 times in one shelf, and like the supervisor would come over when I find that I cannot find this tape, and they just walk over and like pull it out.
Yeah.
I just go, really? I spent 25 minutes looking on this shelf.
Yeah, but because that happens a lot. That would have been interesting, or at least funny.
Well, it's one of the
Because
things.
I agree with Kendra. I mean, they could have easily done that, but they could have done both.
Right,
They could have reminisced
exactly.
and been Harry. They could have had the whole thing been a much more interesting scene.
Exactly. Well, and one of the credos in screenwriting of any kind is show me, don't tell me. And so when you just keep talking about it, it comes off as insincere, and the audience doesn't buy it as well as if they had shown them,
While they were reminiscing, I mean.
Exactly.
And I felt like it would have been much satisfying, or much more satisfying for me at least, for like Eileen to have found it, because
yes.
that's what she's been trying to do this whole time, blood, sweat, and tears. And Julia just walks out and finds it right away.
There it is.
And in a way, it makes Eileen look like she's incompetent.
Well, especially because when she said something about, wait, you bought the whole Maryland estate, she goes, oh yeah, what does that have to do with anything? And then Julia and Katie exchange looks like,
Let's
explain it to Eileen.
Exactly.
You have to explain it to Eileen. She's the producer, and you have to explain it to her.
Right.
Come on, Eileen.
She's so caught up in
That's been going on in my head all night. Now you've just cemented it for me.
Sorry.
No, she's been so caught up with, is it Nick?
Yes.
And
his jail sentence and all of that.
She's all emotional and
You are so kind to these
She
people.
is kind, isn't
Give
she?
full explanation, and I just trashed them. Because
No, anyway.
Well, and ultimately what happens in the end is Karen quits Bombshell, Ivy gets released from Liaisons, and John just went like this, hand slapping, throwing in the air. Everything's perfect. It's all just fine. No problems from here on out. And I really liked, I thought it was, I would love to hear your guys' opinion, but I thought it was really pretty courageous for Karen to say, I'm going to walk away from a major Broadway, possible flop, but possible really good show, and join an 80-seat, little startup company, to put it in other terms, and see where the chips fall. I mean, I know people make decisions like that all the time based on, their heart versus their head and that sort of thing, but that was a big, big risk for her to take.
Yeah.
Any thoughts on that?
She didn't even deliberate, though, right after. It was, she was experiencing the chemistry, really, that Tom and Ivy have always had.
Yes.
And she was just reminded, of their vision in the beginning before Karen became Marilyn. I mean, yes, that could have been strong enough for her to make that decision, but I feel like it would have been more realistic for her to go home and you see her really devastated about conflicted,
yeah,
exactly.
and it's a big conflict.
Instead of just saying you know what, I see your chemistry.
It was it was almost too easy. It was like because and Thomas, well, you're a class act. It was done so quickly, so easy. And I'm going. And I just wanted to see more drama.
And then she finds Derek on the street right next to her, something and
they have a GPS for each other.
Right.
Tracker on their phone.
Cell phone tracking.
A low jack.
Soul connection.
I don't know. I thought she felt, you could see she was maybe trying to think of a way out. She had drinks with Derek and was kind of talking about how unhappy she was. And I just think maybe all of that built, and that was the last, straw, not straw in terms of that, but just that was the last moment that kind of but the light bulb went off.
But this is her Broadway debut, starring on Broadway, and I agree that it may be the last straw. But I didn't get to see those moments of conflict where she's going. Yes, she had a conversation, but it was like, it's the myth.
Let me ask you this, John, because you're a writer.
Right.
Is it possible, though, to cover all this ground in a 1-hour show with all these characters and all these conflicts, to do the things that we're talking about in a show like this?
Well, we just discussed that. I mean, the fact that in the scene where they're looking for the things and reminiscing, you could do that in a much more active way and get those things across. Still have the moment that you want that Kendra was talking about, which could really that you want that emotional moment between mom and daughter, but you can still have the activity going on. And she had a conversation with Karen had a conversation with Derek in a bar about how things are, and it was played this one kind of simple, kind of middle of the road kind of scene, and I'm going, what? Why? You're talking about Broadway. This is high stakes. And she sees this. She sees Tom having this interchange with Ivy, and Karen kind of goes, wow. And it's played at about a 4. And this is her dream.
Right.
And her dream's at a 4.
Well, and her dream was so much more clear in season 1 when she had Dev to talk to about it. You know, where she was trying to get the job and trying to get people to see her and believe in her as a nobody from Kansas. You know, her dream was much more visible to us at that time. What were you going to say, Karen?
I was just going to say, I mean, she knows Derek's on hit list already. She's kind of in love with the guy for whatever reason. And they have this backing of Scott, whom she met a couple episodes ago. So I don't think it was that drastic, because if it does well on the main stage, who knows? I mean, I'm kind of hoping to see them both open on the same night and maybe have to fight for the Tony eventually.
But then I must be missing something, because you go from a Broadway stage to 80 theaters, 80 seats.
No, but they're not on the 80 seats one.
That's the main stage.
No. The 80 seat was the underground.
So but even still, I mean.
But at that point, they didn't know that they would get the main stage.
But even still, the main stage is not Broadway, is what you're saying.
She gave it up before she even did that.
That's right. Yes, she did.
She gave it up before that.
Maybe it was as simple as she's running out of steam. Like maybe the dream has been.
Well, that's great, but the fact that we're having a discussion about we don't know exactly where she was tells me right there that they didn't show really what was going on with her.
Right.
Because otherwise we wouldn't have so many differing opinions.
True.
It would have been much more clear. And for me, I wanted to know what the heck was going on. Why would she make that decision? What was her thought process? What was she thinking?
But maybe that's what makes for the discussion. Otherwise, we'd be sitting here agreeing with each other.
Yeah, it makes a great discussion. No, I agree with it. It makes great discussion, but for me, it doesn't make great TV.
I agree.
Yeah.
Well, the name of the episode was Musical Chairs, so it was a lot of people moving around, directors changing chairs and actors changing chairs, and
actors falling off of swings.
Actors falling off the swings. So they at least accomplished that. Indeed, it was about musical chairs. Any other comments for anybody on the show, on the episode tonight, or should we move on to news and gossip?
AfterBuzz TV News.
I think we should.
This just in. Well, it's not just in, but you're hearing it here. Deborah Messing has been tweeting.
Yes, she has.
And thank you, Tamara, for letting us know. Starting March 7th, Deborah Messing was tweeting, quote, emotional day, #Smash, wraps season 2 tomorrow. Then the next day, she said, closing another chapter, thank you, #Smash. And then March 14th, she said, she posted a quote, every exit is an entry somewhere else by Tom Stoppard. So, question mark as to whether a season 3 will exist?
Yeah, I think it's a strong hint, exactly. I think it's not very well disguised.
Yeah, especially since they're moving it to Saturdays in April. Right.
So that's our next news announcement. Smash, starting April 6th, will be airing on Saturday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern, no longer Tuesday nights. And I was thinking, and it doesn't say this, but this could be their way of like slowly easing it away from air, because it's going to be on a weekend now rather than a weekday.
Right. Now, the other part of that, though, is that they're starting from episode 1, and they're going to re-air a bunch of the episodes up to that point. Is that true? That's what I saw.
You know, I've been seeing different reports.
Okay.
Like, I'm taking a look at a Huffington Post article right now, and it says it will finish out its second season. So to me, I interpret that as finishing out the rest of it.
Oh, because I read somewhere that they were going to be re-airing the original episode or the episodes that we had already seen, which, you know, to my mind is maybe it's their last gasp at finding their audience again, and, you know, and rebooting the series and maybe trying to get up to the main stage.
So to speak.
What it also could be, actually, thinking about the last tweet, it's possible. Is it plausible that maybe Deborah Messing is leaving, but maybe they're gonna switch up characters?
That's
maybe, for a third season?
possible as well.
Interesting.
If it does well on Saturdays, I guess.
Right.
Right. The ratings are just so bad right now. It
Yeah.
just continues to dip down.
Because what's on Saturdays now in that slot?
I'm not sure,
you know?
actually, no.
Yeah, I feel like Saturdays is not
Like-
usually a good place unless it's Saturday Night Live, and that's about it.
Right.
Actually, it might be right before that. It's
Probably.
on NBC.
Oh yeah.
10
Good
to
point.
11, and 11 is SNL, right?
Yes, it is.
11:30.
That might
11:30.
help.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh,
So this is
sorry.
going to be 9 p.m. Eastern on Saturday nights.
Oh,
Okay.
oh.
All right.
9 Eastern?
Yeah.
Oh, 6 o'clock.
Well,
No,
probably
it'll
be
air at 9 o'clock here as
Oh,
well.
okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Any other news? and
8
gossip,
o'clock, yeah,
ladies?
Central.
Or shall
Right.
we?
It's just so sad if it does happen because I feel like we all had very high hopes for the show.
Yes.
And I still enjoy it.
I
There
do
are,
too.
There are some things, that we don't agree with, but still overall, I enjoy watching the show every week. And for it to be over makes me sad.
Yeah. Me too. Me too. Let's move on to predictions, shall we? Since our news music fell away, so I guess that means we're moving on to predictions.
AfterBuzz TV predictions.
We still have, I believe, 10 episodes. I mean, we're not even halfway through the season yet.
10?
So I believe that's right, because I read that there were 16 or 17 episodes coming up, with the finale being titled, because a lot of them between here and there are not titled, but the finale is called The Tonys, which I think we've talked about before. So
I said
There
that
goes your
somebody earlier. Yeah, there's my prediction. Ends up at the Tonys.
exactly. It's
Best
the Tonys.
Actress.
It's going to be a showdown for Best Actress.
And Best
Hit
Musical.
List and Bombshell are both going to be big giant hits. And we will leave the series being very sad at the end.
And winning the Tony for Best Musical. Credits.
Then the show gets canceled. Aww.
I think I think they have to split the vote where it might be Ivy gets Best Actress, but Hit List gets Best Musical. And then you have Best Director, too.
Yes.
Derek and Tom.
And then Tom gets it.
Yeah, let's just hope that Jimmy doesn't get Best Writer.
No, right.
Or best musical score.
Oh,
I actually made a note about Jimmy that he was not dressed up at the gala, and I was like, really? Just wear a suit, dude.
Seriously.
He tried for his budget.
You can't go dating Karen when she's wearing that spangly pretty dress if you're wearing jeans and a
Exactly.
flannel or whatever it was. Any other predictions, ladies?
I think the tables may turn with Karen and Ivy, where Karen was she had the upper hand for some time, and now in this episode, she seemed like she was concerned for Ivy's feelings a few times. And I don't know how that's going to pan out.
So the power struggle will change hands,
Yeah.
perhaps.
I predict a Karen Derek kiss coming.
Oh,
In front of Jimmy.
good one.
Not on the cheek this time, right?
No, indeed. Any predictions, John?
Well, based on how Tom was showing Karen how to do Marilyn,
Yes.
I think he's going to step into the role.
Is he? He's going to understudy for her. She's
Yeah.
going to fall away,
Exactly.
and he's going to debut on Broadway.
Yeah, exactly.
As Marilyn. Okay, implausible flag. Kristen, where can we find you in the
You
world?
can find me on Twitter at Kristin Carole 13.
Kendra, how about you?
At Kendra Kabasele.
And Miss Sarah?
You can find me at Sarah with an H Mendoza.
Stephen, I believe you are on the Twitter.
Yeah, you can
Yes?
find me at Stephen Lemieux or AfterBuzz every day of my life.
Every day of your life. You can find me on Twitter at Tamara Berg. And do tweet us questions and comments if you have anything that we'd like to include. Don't forget to follow Leslie Odom Jr. Take a look at his Kickstarter campaign. John, we can't find you anywhere, can we?
No.
We can find you right
On the
here.
couch.
You're doing House of Cards for AfterBuzz
House of
and also
Cards,
Justified with me. So we'll find you in those places. I guess that's it for us this week. You can find me at Tamara Berg on Twitter. Did I say that already? I can't even remember. It's late, and we've gone over an hour. Thank you for sticking with us, and we will see you next week.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
TV.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.